but what Jay and I mentioned in the last podcast, what Jay Miley and I mentioned in the last podcast, we did bring up, unless with the LGBTQ and with disabilities as well and mental health, unless you're in that person's shoes, you really don't know what's going on or how
Yeah.
to feel about it unless you're in that person's shoes. And I know that when we discussed it as well, for people that write about those kinds of topics, that they can either hurt the people or it can be well represented depending on if you do your own research and all that. And
Yeah,
I know with
absolutely.
everything going on as well, um, I'm sure you can agree with this, Amy, that it's a time for change in the
Oh
world and
yeah,
in the community
absolutely.
for sure. And I think it's not just about, it's about the community kind of all coming together in a sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
And hopefully there will be a good change. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens after this.
Exactly, and I'm kind of curious to see it as well, Amy. So for those that are listening that um, haven't heard of you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Obviously, only what you feel comfortable with sharing.
So well, I'm the author of Melrose, and I do have other stories out. One of the ones I've written is co-written by my best friend Natasha. It's called Thumbelina. I'm a massive thriller fan. I enjoy thriller stories, which I've been trying to get more of them out, but I went to the romance side of things,
Ooh.
sadly. However, if you want to talk about me personally, I'm a Welsh author. I've only met two other Welsh authors, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot more out there.
Oh, really?
So yeah, only two, maybe three, but there are not very many Welsh authors. So I don't know.
Wow.
I feel kind of special. So yeah, I'm 24. I also write on a app called Plop, so my other work is on there. And well, I think I would have a lot more interesting stuff to say about me had we not been in lockdown this entire time, because I have been doing nothing for 4 months.
Yes, and lockdown is obviously crazy.
It's so crazy.
It is on, and with everything in the world going on, it'll be interesting to see what happens, I think. And we're all
Yeah,
kind of, I guess, looking forward to
normal.
seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, it has been crazy, and I do wish I'd spent more time writing during this time. But yeah, I think before the lockdown, I was working, and I had a I had a social life, and now I'm just literally a hermit now. I
I
don't
think,
really leave
yeah,
unless it's for essential things. Essential
yeah,
meaning alcohol. Yeah.
the things everybody kind of needs, like food,
Yeah. Food, alcohol.
alcohol. Yes,
A lot of alcohol is being consumed during this quarantine.
obviously, depending on your age, we don't encourage, but we won't touch that. So,
No, we
what
won't.
made you want to become an author or
Well,
writer?
I've been writing since I was 15, so I've always like enjoyed doing that. And
Hmm.
I kind of gave it up for a bit, and then I found episode and all the stories. I at first I was so confused. I thought it was like hired authors, and I realized no, it's just normal people. So I was like, I'm gonna give this a go, because I've always enjoyed writing and creating new stories, and I
Hmm.
get too attached to my characters and my stories. I kind of care too much about it, so I always put 100% into what I'm doing. I love creating things that haven't been read, things that haven't been read before,
Hmm.
and I just enjoy kind of going somewhere else, if that makes sense. Like every time you write a story, you
Yes, you go
have to
into
put
another
you have
world,
to
a
go into
sense.
it. You have to do that, and I absolutely love doing that. So yeah, that's the only reason why I write. I've got huge passion for it. I love it, and yeah, that's basically why I do it, just because I
Oh,
love it so
and I
much.
completely agree. I've been doing writing since I was about 15 as well. I actually do have a story I did write. It's not on episode, but I know if there's a lot of people who want it out, I will put it on episode.
Oh,
It is a story I wrote when I was a teenager, so it will be interesting to see. But if you guys do want that to happen, I will do it. I'm pretty sure, Amy, just from looking at your face, you're like, do it. I want to
do
see
it.
this.
Like, I don't have the privilege of being able to put my very first story on episode because it was a Harry Potter fanfic.
Ah, the one of my stories I wrote, it was called Overpowered, and I wrote it with Felicity, and it was it was kind of the theme was around the Power Rangers, but it was
Okay.
not like the Power Rangers at all. Like, if you read the story, it was not like Power Rangers. There were some similarities, but it was not. And it actually ended up getting taken off the app, and I never got a warning, and they said they emailed me a warning, and I'm like, I never got it.
Oh wow.
So I had to file the support ticket and pretty much find out why the story got taken down, and they actually classified it as it's a fanfic, and I'm like, it's how is it a fanfic? But so I pretty much had to talk with Felicity and be like, "Oh," and I'm pretty sure you can find it if you scroll through like my Instagram posts. I'm pretty sure you can find it where we made it the joint post. So we pretty well said that it were they wanted too many changes and it would have taken
Oh
away from.
wow.
We pretty much would have had to rewrite the whole story. So we just left it off
That
the app.
that's horrible. That's sad.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have had stories taken down and they haven't had any warning at all. So it's like, okay, it's not fun. But yeah, I think there is like a fine line between inspiration and
Yeah.
just being in like
Plagiarize
plagiarizing.
them. And,
I just think they need to be a bit more. If it was just totally inspired by it, I don't see what the problem is. But then
yeah.
again, I've never actually seen Power Rangers, so I could not kind of vouch for you in that kind of aspect. Like,
I
I don't
know.
really know what Power Rangers is.
I know. I've seen there was a story I read on episode, and I don't know if it's still on episode or not, but it was based off Hannah Montana, and I'm pretty sure
Oh
it's
wow.
still on the app at still at this point. I don't know if you've ever seen Hannah Montana.
Yeah, I've seen Hannah Montana. I used to be a fan.
Oh, me too.
Um,
That's I'm like, yeah, I watched it too. I'm not no shame there.
no shame. I mean, I
No
was quite
shame.
young when it came out, and then
Yeah.
I get kind of freaked out how old Hannah Montana actually is, and because that means I'm old. So
Mhm.
yeah, I read a story as well, which was totally copied of Princess Diaries, and even the names were the same.
Oh
And
my god.
I was like, oh my god, this is literally just just like the names are the same. I'm like, you could have at least changed names. And yeah, I that was a couple of years ago. I was like, yeah, this. I think I even like messaged the author. I was like, well, this is kind of like I went. Do you get inspired by Princess Diaries? She was like, yeah. I was like, okay. So that was completely the same. And I think
Did you kind of give her
I,
the heads up to make the changes or?
yeah, it was when I was reviewing stories. So she messaged me, can you review my stories? I said, yes, no problem. And I kind of wrote back to her, I was like,